It has been way too long since I've covered gaming in any form, but today I would like to touch on a few different things. Now, some of these are admittedly old news, but these are still topics I really want to talk about, and over the next week or two, I do plan to cover the many gaming announcements, updates, and controversies that I've missed. I'm going to be starting with Fallout 76 and the Wastelanders update. This was supposed to come out April 7th, but it's been pushed back until the 14th. Now, I forget to mention this later in the video, so keep that in mind. This update promises to change up the game in some very big ways, and some pretty exciting ones too. Now, something even more interesting is this new Star Wars game that was leaked on Twitter. It's called Project Maverick. Obviously, it being Star Wars related, I have to cover it in some way. No Man's Sky also had a very weirdly awesome update, the Living Ship update, and it's as crazy as it sounds. And finally, Anthem, the game that has had some of the most controversial coverage, is getting an entire rework, so I obviously have to give my opinions on it. Gaming news videos from here on out may seem a little different. I will be messing with how I do it all together just to see what's more comfortable and what's more appealing to you guys. So if you have an opinion, let me know in the comments below when you start noticing those changes. Now, thank you guys so much for joining me. Now let's jump right into the video. To begin, I want to touch on Fallout 76. Now, before you turn off this video, just bear with me for a moment. I know many are disappointed with Bethesda, rightfully so. They've handled many situations regarding the game pretty poorly, but this newest update, Wastelanders, is less than 2 months off and it's looking promising. Now, the last time I talked about 76, I was kinda harsh and talked very badly of it, saying I'd lost all interest. Well, that has since changed. The Wastelanders update, due out on April 7th, has truly inspired me to talk about this game once again. Now, they've shown off a fairly decent amount of footage, including unedited gameplay, of which will be linked in the description if you're interested. Now, as you know, this update will bring new fully voiced human NPCs, all with their own backstory. Now, included with this is the new dialogue system, very reminiscent of Fallout New Vegas. Now, this isn't just adding more content, no, they are going through many parts of the base game, adding entire conversations with previously met NPCs, like Rosie here. As you can see, she now has dialogue choices. What interests me even further is the fact that these dialogue choices are related to an older quest she has, meaning they've went through the base story and added this new dialogue system to old quests. Now, we don't know to what extent they did this, but from gameplay videos, you can see the difference immediately. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Accompanying this new update is weapon types, including the bow, of which is actually more in depth than I originally thought it'd be. Not even mentioning the new faction story and lure that's coming with this. They've even changed up the lighting a little bit, making a bigger difference visually than you'd expect. But there is way too much info to just cover in this segment, so I'll be covering the rest of this update in its own video soon. But to say I'm excited, well, that'd be a safe bet. Not to mention the update is free for anyone who already owns the game. Now, this shouldn't be praised exactly, but it still does deserve to be mentioned. Now let's move on and talk about something else fairly interesting that happened recently. The new leaked Star Wars game from EA, known right now as Project Maverick. Sony has a Twitter account ran by a bot. The purpose is to announce upcoming games, among other things, but lucky for us, bots aren't perfect, and now we know of the existence of Project Maverick, a new Star Wars game coming from EA, specifically EA Motive. Now, interestingly enough, this has some developers from the late EA Montreal team, who was behind the controversial Mass Effect Andromeda, which a lot of people actually don't like, but it is kind of a good game, and it's kind of achievement in a way. Of course, I kind of do want to make a video on this eventually, but that's not what we're talking about today. Now, not much is known, but with the leaked tweet came a leaked image of an Imperial destroyer and a squad of X-Wing fighters, hinting at something similar to the beloved Star Wars Rogue Leader game. It released in 2003, though it's yet to be determined if it'll feature anything beyond ship combat. However, this image could mean many things. Maybe it's not related to ship combat at all. Maybe it'll be something similar to Star Wars 1313, a cancelled game that was said to be very similar to an Uncharted experience. But that is really a far-fetched idea to some. Either way, I can't wait to hear more about this game. It should also be noted that the leak file on PSN was labeled as what seems to be a beta, which could mean many things. Now, single-player games in the past have had betas sometimes, but this might lead to its online multiplayer experience, but we'll just have to wait and see. This does point to the fact that we may be expecting to hear something from EA fairly soon. Hell, this leak could have been purposely done. No, that's just a conspiracy theory to be honest, but given other companies have used this strategy in the past, it is possible. Now, there's a little more we can take away from this image. It will at least feature a planet very similar to Mustafar, if it isn't the planet itself, which is actually where Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker fought in the Revenge of the Sith. As for when it takes place, well, Well, we can only guess. Maybe it takes place sometime after Rogue One, or hell, maybe it's an entirely different era altogether. Anytime a Star Wars game is leaked, I'm automatically hyped up, even though I know deep down I shouldn't be. When more information comes out about this game, I will cover it in its own video. I love Star Wars, so I can't wait to see more about this. One game I've covered since the conception of my channel was No Man's Sky, and as time went on, more and more improvements and updates made its way into the game. Now I've covered every single one, almost. It's been a refreshing and exciting experience to say the least, getting pleasantly surprised over not just one update but several taking place over 2 years, eventually coming out with No Man's Sky Beyond, which today is one of my most viewed videos, and for good reason. This update showed how capable the Hello Games development team is. Don't get me wrong, they showed this long before Beyond, at least to me. I've always seen the respect and care they had for their game, as well as their amazing community, which to date is one of the best gaming communities out there, definitely the friendliest. Not to mention, all this is free to everyone who bought the game. With Beyond, everyone's eyes started to open up. Now mostly everyone has positive things to say about the game, or at least not really too many negative things to say, which is an incredible feat compared to where they were at release. But they haven't stopped there, no. There's been a few updates since, one adding an entire rave-like system where players can create their very own music creations in-game, and it's much more in-depth than it sounds. Then No Man's Sky Synthesis came out, adding new ways to improve your starship, as well as adding a way to break down old ships for parts worth a decent amount of credits. Both of these updates had many quality of life changes and bug fixes, and now we have what's dubbed the Alien Ship Update. Now this update adds a new ship type, which is just beyond insane, and it is just filled with creativity. This ship is, in the literal sense, a living, breathing alien ship, and it's really cool. It has a whole story that comes with it. The ship update is much more than a ship update, as all No Man's Sky updates are. It's filled with all kinds of variety of different aspects that they change in the game. There's a lot of different changes, so this is awesome. This is telling of what they will continue to add on to the game. This is very, very unique from any other ship you could find in the game. Now, instead of the usual ship parts you can acquire, your ship actually comes equipped with a number of living body parts, which will serve as weapon types, hyperdrive functions, and other mechanics that your ship needs to run. I'll link a video below going over everything you need to know, not mine, but one from a respected No Man's Sky content creator. This isn't even the last update. Hello Games, and even more specifically Sean Murray, have mentioned they are working on even more updates, some smaller ones and one specifically that's more likely similar to the size of Beyond. Now if you're interested in the game and kind of want to stay up to date, following Twitter is a good way to do that. Sean Murray loves to mess with his community and loves to just tease updates via cryptic tweets, and honestly I love it, and so does the community. This kind of interactivity between developer and player really does drive a strong community, and it's probably the backbone of No Man's Sky. I could honestly talk about No Man's Sky forever, but I better move on. Now very much like No Man's Sky Next and Beyond, Anthem is doing something very similar. Now again, I know Anthem is like a bad leg cramp that just won't go away, but hear me out on this one. Anthem, yes, has a very large number of issues. Though it has gotten a bit better recently, it's still in need of some extreme changes. Luckily, BioWare is very aware. Actually, BioWare has known this for a while now, as it's been confirmed that they have been working on Anthem 2.0, as some are calling it, an entire rework of the game. The team specifically came out and acknowledged this leak, detailed in Kotaku's article as fact. They mentioned they took a few months and broke down the game on a fundamental level to see what needed to be fixed, which was, to say the least, a lot. Now they are allegedly at the point of remaking the systems of the game, including the open world, progression, characters, story, player hub, quests, in-game, and everything in between. In regards to how long this will take, well, that'd be another long shot guess, but I'm thinking maybe around E3 we may hear a little bit more about this, and see the release during the holidays this year or sometime in 2021, but it could be even further off than that, though I doubt it, since they are also known to be working on Dragon Age 4, so waiting until after 2021 could be a mistake, but they should take the time to do it right, so it's honestly hard to say when this will happen, or if they will follow through with it at all, which I honestly think they will. Either way, I do love the gameplay Anthem brought, as well as the art design and overall world. Believe it or not, I do honestly want to see more of Anthem. I'm not trying to create hype for this update. Of course, I will remain very skeptical. I won't let my hope to have a better Anthem influence my opinion in any way. When or if this update comes out, I will give an in-depth and honest look into this update. I once said I wouldn't give up on this game. That remains to be true. Much like Fallout 76. I honestly can't wait to see what Anthem's true possibilities are, and I really hope BioWare can bring them out, and they really need to nail this because they have a lot of hate against them right now, and if they get this right, they may deserve some forgiveness from the community, and it may actually drive the company in a better direction, but we'll just have to wait and see, which at this point is like my favorite phrase. And that being said, I would love to hear what you think about what we've discussed today. Do you even care for Fallout 76 Wastelanders? Are you still keeping an eye on No Man's Sky, or have you long forgotten it? How do you feel about Project Maverick, and what do you think it'll be about? Does Anthem interest you at all, or do you still have distaste for the game? There are so many questions that I would like answers to, or opinions at least. Be sure to let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Well, where else would you let me know? Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the outro of this video. Now, I thank you guys so much for watching. I've been slow on creating content. Well, slow is, I dropped off the face of the earth, but I am back. I'm gonna start trying to put out more videos as often as I can. My next video I'm working on is top games to look forward to, but they won't be covering the Cyberpunk 2077 and all the other really well-known games coming. Instead, I would rather focus on some lesser-known titles that you guys might be excited for. Now again, thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and I can't wait to bring some more content to this channel and just breathe some more life into it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out of here.